Hey everyone, welcome back to Jurassic World Evolution. Today I'm going to share a neat little layout that you can use for your hatcheries to limit the amount of tranquilizing and moving dinosaurs you'll need to do. This is especially useful for challenge mode, I think. It's not the prettiest looking setup as far as aesthetics for your park go, but it's very efficient. So I think that it's this the main use for this can be in challenge mode. And so I'm gonna cut to a sped up version real quick while I build it, and then I'll talk about it a little more when we finish. Okay, so as you can see, we've got four pretty nice enclosures, and our hatchery opens up into all four of them. We can we can fairly easily release dinosaurs and have them go into their new homes. So these, I would say these are big enough for most of your starter dinosaurs. There might be an issue if you're trying to house something like Ceratosaurus and Dilophosaurus because they both have different needs. Dilophosaurus will want more forest, whereas Ceratosaurus wants more grassland. In that case, you can do something like this and just add another full length of fence to one side if you want, fairly easily. And there you go. This would probably be an enclosure big enough for the two of them as far as their space requirements go. As you can see, that kind of messes up our perfectly balanced enclosure, but what I just did is not necessary either. So this is mainly just a neat way to have a nice symmetrical looking exhibit that is efficient for challenge mode and prevents you from having to be tranquilizing and moving your dinosaurs all over the place. For challenge mode, I would say you could maybe put like a ceratopsid enclosure, a hadrosaur, and let's say, I mean, pretty much anything except the really space heavy dinosaurs like the sauropods and the larger carnivores will be happy with an exhibit like this. Where it can get kind of interesting is maintaining your dinosaur visibility. As you can see, a viewing gallery does the trick for the two on the left and the right fairly well. But what about the two in the back? Thankfully, you can fairly easily cover those with a platform on the right and the left side of your hatcheries. Dinosaur visibility is kind of an interesting stat for challenge mode. It seems to influence the amount of money you're making because the higher the visibility, the more guests that come in. And there's also a lot of contracts that you'll get for getting higher visibility. And then also your other option is to just stick a gyrosphere ride, and you can, with the newer update, you can have a gyrosphere track go through all 4 exhibits that way too. If you want to keep it perfectly symmetrical, you would just keep this line going straight over to here. But if you get to the point where you need it to be bigger, it's pretty flexible too. You can add on more fencing when needed. There's some islands that this is a great idea for, like I'd say Isla Muerta. I think Tucano is good, not Isla Pena. I don't think there's a single area on Isla Pena that has enough room to do this. That's definitely an island where you may have to tranquilize and move all of your dinosaurs. Isla Sorna is definitely big enough. Muerta East is big enough, and I think you could probably pull this off on the Tucano Research Facility also. The only other thing that I want to mention is if you don't like having your hatchery by your guests, so like I showed earlier, the best way that I would imagine doing this is having viewing galleries here, one here, and then eventually some platforms and maybe a gyrosphere ride. But let's just say you don't like having your hatchery right by your guests. The other way you could potentially do this is to flip the whole thing and have the hatchery over here, and it opens up into your main guest area. That's a little bit trickier, but it's possible. All you would have to do is run a path that went around the back and connected to the hatchery over here, and that would open up this whole area, and it would for guests' activities and other shops and whatnot. So it's definitely possible. It just takes a little more pre-planning and more pathing into the back of the exhibit. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.